Hello everyone, Johnny Minder here, and today we are continuing to learn Japanese with Pokémon FireRed. Last time we've finally finished the intro, the additional one, exclusive to FireRed. We continued slightly playing the game, checking around the house, because we also had we checked out the summary that shows up when you boot up the game again. Hi Ringo, nice to see you here. So yeah, today we'll talk to our mom and then finally leave the house. And yeah, of course we'll go around Pallet Town, Masa라 Town, as we saw last time in Japanese. And yeah, so actually we'll properly start going around the town and what happens after. Yeah, without further ado, let's start. Yeah, we checked out also the file select menu here last time. No particular changes apart of course for the playtime. We won't check this anymore. Not that this one is identical so far. Funny enough, the exact part here, because yeah, the only thing that got registered so far is us taking the potion from the PC. So let's start by talking to our mother. He says Okasan as the character speaking, which is the term for mother. In particular, this one technically it's the term that you should, it's an honorific term, as you might guess from the O at the start. Yeah, it's the usual honorific prefix, and the sun at the end, of course. Honorific or respectful language. It's a term you'd use for someone else's mother, but is also actually used as a familiar term. So yeah, when you call, when you are speaking to your mother, you would use, if not okasan, so straight up the way it is, like this, the standard form, a variant of it, kasan, even more so also kids, ka-chan, but yeah, as you might notice, all variants of these. No, it's worth mentioning that, specify that there's also that usage, because the term you would use for referring when talking about your mother to someone else, you would say haha, which is the strictly Japanese term for mother, or a variant of it. For example, hahaoya, which literally combines it with the term oya on its own, accent on the last syllable. When combined with that, it becomes unaccented, okay? But yeah, literally, mother plus oya means parent, so yeah, mother, parent, but yeah. So yeah, remember that this okasan, both used as the term you should use about when speaking about someone else's mother, but also used in the family when referring to your mother when talking to her as a familiar term funny enough, it immediately comes to mind for father, for example. I think not the last time, another time I mentioned Detective Conan Case Closed. The term Ran uses towards her father Kokoro usually is Otosan or abbreviated Tosan or something like that. But yeah, because of that. But yeah, so here we have Okasan, mom. Yeah, she says, notice that yeah, we have the name Okasan, so yeah, with a long vowel. And then we have the quotation mark, the quote, and notice how it is in Japanese. That's the opening one, and yeah, it's that kind of bracket would be on the top left. And yeah, then we have suspension dots, and she says, Sone. Well, technically, it would, we could technically stop there, even though it's more of like, well, an expression, an interjection, we could say in a way. And yeah, first and foremost, we have so. This one technically it becomes then with this so ne accented on the so, even though the origin should still be the so unaccented we have seen, which means in that way part of the Kosoado series go close to both the speaker, so far from the speaker close to the listener, far from both, though the interrogative, Kosoa usually an accented though accented on though itself. So yeah, in that way. But yeah, it's found also in other expressions, similar expressions. You might have heard so desu ka, for example. Is that so? But yeah, here technically would be so desu ne. But yeah, the copula is implied. And technically, this so ne like this is considered a female term or language. But yeah, technically, it's the meaning is it's that way, isn't it? So yeah, the meaning then it's oh well, yeah, good, okay. Yes. That's why technically we could stop there, and we did, so that we can then press to see more of the rest of the sentence, since the other ones have to stay together technically, as we see. And yeah, then she says, Otoko no ko wa itsuka tabi ni deru mono nano yo. First and foremost, we have Otoko no ko. We have seen it already in this very series. Otoko, male, accent on the last syllable. The possessive particle no. Ko on its own should be unaccented. We didn't check it last time, I think, but we have seen it before in, for example, yeah, unaccented in Mario World. When I mentioned it in comparison with the prefix ko, with a different kanji, even though most likely they're related. But yeah, male child, so yeah, boy. as a reminder again, the accent stays on the ko despite the no. Usually it would make words accent on the last syllable an accent, but yeah, in this case it stays. It became a compound with that accent. Then we have the topic particle wa written as ha. So yeah, as for boys. Then we have itsuka. And yeah, it could technically be another. There's another word with the pronunciation itsuka, but it's clearly not related. We'll see it eventually, even though it's a numeral plus counter combination. That one. This one is itsu, accented on the first on the i, on the first mora. Itsu is the interrogative pronoun, which means when. And so we can then add ka, the interrogative particle. As we have seen, when you add ka to an interrogative pronoun like this one, for example, we have seen also nanika, or I mentioned also dareka, for example, you get the corresponding sam word. Again, makes sense considering that words with sam means and not specified, in our case here, time. So yeah, some time. Nanika, something. Dareka, someone. Yeah, so a not specified time, thing, or person. So yeah, you can see why we use what most likely is the interrogative particle originally. Buonasera, Guillaume. Good evening. Nice to see you here. But yeah, itsuka, this one is accented on, still on the i. So yeah, pretty convenient. So yeah, sometime. In this case, actually also can become then someday. Yeah, in the sense of one day then. But yeah. And it's the one, let's say, makes more sense here. Then we have tabi. Actually, it should be tabi, if I recall correctly. We have seen it. It means travel, trip, journey. Accent on the last syllable. On the last mora, it doesn't change here. Tabi. And actually, by adding then the particle ni, we can hear the accent tabini. Low, high, low. Tu. I think we might have seen straight up this expression before. Pretty easy, because yeah, after that we have the verb deru. We even studied this kanji in the previous series, Super Mario World. So yeah. Go, come, get, out, exit. In this case, depart. For, we could say. One that I don't remember if we straight up found it. If it wasn't with deru, it was a similar verb. Maybe with the kakeru. But yeah, doesn't change. Yeah, no, actually, tabini teru should be the expression. So yeah, I think we straight up found that before. And yeah, it means then to start a journey then, because yeah, if you depart on a trip, a journey, and so on, yeah. Then after deru, we actually have mono. technically, it would be mono. We've studied this kanji. Usually means thing, as in object. Contrast with thing, as in matter, koto. Both accent on the last syllable, plus more. But yeah, in this case, with this, by using mono, it's used for an expression technically, in which it has technically more meanings, but yeah, in this case more would be to indicate a general tendency, as says the online dictionary, or something that should happen. Technically, as it says, formal noun often used as mono da, so yeah, plus the copula. But yeah, it's a thing technically, but yeah, as in it's expected that as for boys that someday they will, then we can adapt it, the verb in the present with a future usage, since actually the verb in Japanese, when in the present, can be used for the simple future as well. But yeah, after mono we have actually we do not have the copula, the regular copula. We have instead na and then a no. Yeah, it's worth mentioning that the na is required because when you have to attach a noun to the particle no, you have to use na instead. Again, actually not surprising when you consider, as we mentioned before, that na is actually a contraction of the classical copula nari. Yeah, it's the rule then that to attach it to this no, we have to use the na. And yeah, it's actually used, this na no becomes actually then an expression, is considered female term or language, colloquial, as we can, and so yeah, makes sense since our mother is speaking. And can either have actually the no in this case is technically the usual nominalizer we have seen, thing as in fact. So yeah, the usual expression technically it's it is that. And then the rest of the sentence. This when with falling intonation, yeah, it's simply used to make an assertion. With a rising intonation, then it would become is that so? Is it? But yeah, so actually female term or language, this expression. But yeah, so it's. Then last but not least, we have the よ confirm me, we have seen it. Well, as the translation I usually use, you know, even though technically the dictionary doesn't mention it. Other ones would be hey, but yeah, usually you wouldn't use it. It simply indicates certainty or emphasis. Other usages, but yeah, these are the most common ones. So yeah, as for boys, as mentioned, it is that they're supposed to leave to depart on journeys on a trip someday, and then we can add the you know at the end for the yo. And then she says un. Then the suspension dots, and yeah, this is the typical is one of the ways to say yes in Japanese. A more colloquial one, which could say un. The standard one would be hi. We also have e. But yeah, this un means yes, yeah, With a longer vowel, usually then it actually becomes more of a but yeah, here it's simply yes. And then she says, Terebi no hanashi yo. First and foremost, we have Terebi. We've seen it last time since we actually checked out the television. And yeah, this is the term for, as we've said, TV in Japanese. The abbreviation of television. That one accented just like in English. While this one, this contraction becomes accented on the te, so be careful. Terebi. Then we have the possessive particle no. And yeah, then we have hanashi. From hanasu. Hanasu, accented, unaccented verb. To talk, to speak, and so on. We can verb go down verb, so we can change the u into e. To get to make the continuative form, so the corresponding noun. So yeah, hanashi, luckily regular, so accent on the last syllable. And yeah, so simply talk, speech, chat, conversation, other extended meanings. And yeah, after that we have straight up the yo. So yeah, notice that again the copula is implied. And yeah, actually this and then we have this yo. So yeah, again it still makes sense for a female term or language. But yeah, she says here, you know, it's technically the talk of the TV. So yeah, I think in English they adapted it into that's what the TV said. And yeah, after that she says, soyeba tonari no okido. Well, actually, let's stop at soyeba so we can then send the rest, see the other part. Notice that we have so again. So yeah, that technically that way. And then we have yeba from you. Also another pronunciation of it on its own. Unaccented is a verb, is the verb which means to say. We've also seen it in this series, then by extension used to name, to call. But yeah, the fundamental meaning is to say. U verb go down verb, so we can change the u into e. to make. As mentioned, technically would be the realis form. Nowadays, in contemporary Japanese, usually referred to as simply the conditional form, because yeah, it's actually used also for the potential, as we have seen, and almost likely actually because of a different origin technically, but never mind that. But yeah, its typical usage is to then attach pa, and so make one of the forms of the conditional if when. So actually also with a temporal usage potentially, exactly like English if when. With the ba we make the conditional the closest one to the first conditional in English. But yeah, literally here it would be if you say that way technically, but that better. So yeah, it's used as an expression, which means now that you mention it, come to think of it. Oh yeah, that reminds me technically, but yeah. Even better, so now that you mention it, yeah, or speaking of which, yeah, so it's this expression, so to introduce something else. Yeah, after that, she says, 隣の大木戸博士があなたを呼んでたわよ。Yeah, first and foremost, we have Tonari. You might have heard it before. If you have ever heard the Japanese title of or the song of My Neighbor Totoro, and yeah, Tonari is what becomes neighbor. Tonari no Totoro is in Japanese unaccented Tonari. Technically a noun, but yeah, again, one of those nouns that then take the possessive particle no to make in practice an adjective. So yeah. Technically, first and foremost would be the fundamental meaning would be next to, adjoining, adjacent, and then so by extension, house, next door, or the next door neighbor. So yeah, fundamental meaning next to, and then by extension those. And yeah, after that we have Okido, the Japanese name of Professor Oak, Okid. We have a Hakase, as we have seen. Oak mentioned it also in this game. Fundamental meaning expert, learned person, technically, but yeah, then used as a colloquial way to for doctor, PhD. Also used here, as we can see, as a suffix. Unfortunately, we can confirm the accent of it. My suspicion is that while Hakase on its own is well, it's actually accented on the ha. Sorry, so yeah, it's accented on its own on the ha. But yeah, I'd say it keeps that accent. Although most likely it's because it's a longer suffix, a title technically, even though a colloquial one. Yeah, Professor Oak, doctor technically in Japanese, I think PhD Oak. Then we have the subject particle ga. Then we have Anata. We've already mentioned it in this series. It's the fundamental pronoun for the second person singular, you. Nowadays actually often regarded as rude or distant. Clearly not the case here. Here it's simply because to keep it generic. Although funny enough, it's also used beyond this generic usage found as we have seen in video games when we have to refer to a generic you without doing it the usual way of Japanese, which is actually mentioning that person's name with a the usual san or their title and so on. So yeah, when speaking, for example, we have it here when referring to Professor Oak, we would say instead of anata generic, we would say Okido Hakase, for example, wa, as for Professor Oak, even though we are speaking with him. So yeah, you, as for you, but yeah, in Japanese we would refer to his name and title in this case. But yeah, anata accented on the na. Then we have the object particle o, written as one, pronounced as such in careful speech and also singing. And then we have yonde. We've already seen it in this series, again, funny enough, for the same reason as you, because yeah, yobu, I think it was unaccented. It means to call, both in the usage we have already seen, to call, as in somebody is called a certain name, but also to call out. Yeah, actually, that's the meaning here. Yobu, verb, godan verb, it's in bu, so we have to follow the rules. It becomes nde. Again, the rule would be, we change the u into e to make the continuative form yobi te. Then the e file, most likely. Only the b remained, but voiced consonants, now those that are simply voiced now in contemporary Japanese, consonants were actually pronounced in classical Japanese, so yomb, yombi, te, but only the b remained, so yeah, then the nasal remained as n, and actually affected the te, which became voiced, but actually pronounced, so yeah, that's why nowadays we simply write it. We kept technically the nasal, but we write it separately, luckily. It's easier. So yeah, we have the form of the verb. Required in this case because technically we had then ta, actually an abbreviation, a contraction of ita, iru, to be as in to exist, used on its own for animate things, people and animals. When used after the form of a verb, is used as an auxiliary with the meaning continuing action or state. Here, simply as in English, it would become technically it has been calling you. Then we can simplify it by technically we have the past form, because iru is ru verb, it's a verb. So to make the ta form of the verb, we simply drop the ru to make the continuative form, and then simply add ta form of the verb, so past form of the verb in plain speech. And yeah, so is calling, was calling, here better I'd say has been calling. Well, we could technically actually keep in was calling. Then we have first the wa. I think we have seen it in Zelda 2. It's a final sentence particle, which indicates emotion or admiration. And is a female term or language. Funny enough, used for even simpler emphasis without being female term or language in Kansai dialect. But yeah, here you often see it more often than not in fiction, like in video games, anime, manga, as a female term or language. And then we have yo again. So yeah, simply the Professor Oak next door was calling you, you know. Oh yeah, so we finally heard what she had to say. So yeah, we can exit the house here. Oh yeah, on the top left, we had again Masa라 Town. We explained it last time. Its name. I wanted to quickly check this since hadn't it been for I forgot that technically it shows first and foremost on the top left corner. But yeah, this was what I would have checked for its name. And yeah, here it says Koko wa Masa라 Town. Notice that here there is also the space technically, but yeah, first and foremost, even though we don't have a period there, I'd say it makes sense to stop there. Because yeah, first and foremost we have Koko, with the Koko path of the Kosodo series, of course, it becomes the place, the location. So yeah, here, topic particle y as, so yeah, as for here, implied a copula, it's, and also the it, technical, but yeah, Japanese doesn't have to add that pronoun. Masa라 Town, simply. It's Masa라 Town, Pallet Town. And then it says, Masa라 wa Mashiro Hajimari no iro. And yeah, so it says, as for Masa라, as in the name of the town, technically. Then we have this Mashiro. Funny enough, we've mentioned it in the explanation of the name of Masa라. Even though, technically, as you have seen, Masa라 comes from Masa라, brand new. We have also this Mashiro. Notice again the ma, with the doubling of the following consonant, is the prefix which means pure, technically. Pure, genuine, true, then becomes by, or just right by extension, and so brand new in the case of with new. Here we can keep it pure, as in pure, white, because yeah, shiro means white, on its own accented on the first syllable. And lucky, even with the addition of this prefix, the accent stays on the shi, so Mashiro. The pure white, yeah, we found it because yeah, technically Bulbapedia mentioned it, Masa라 being related to Mashiro. I'd say technically not, but here it's mentioned the Mashiro because technically, as a reminder, too bad that we couldn't play the original games first. Because yeah, then we would say that when played on the Game Boy Color, this would be white. Actually, as shown also, as mentioned in the name of this place in Italian, for example, as it's called, Bianca Villa. Bianca from Bianco, white. Villa, here technically town, even though it's more complex than that, but yeah. Technically in that case would be the town. But yeah, we have pure white. And then it says Hajimari no Iro. Yeah, first and foremost we have Hajimari from Hajimaru. We have seen it before. I think also with the file select, the save select, I should call it in this game's case. It is sure it's there. It comes from Hajimaru, to begin, to start, the intransitive form of the verb. Verb colon verb, so we can change the U into I to make the continuative form, and so the corresponding noun. So yeah, beginning or start as in the noun. Then we have the possessive particle no, and then we have iro mentioned because of derivative terms. But yeah, here we see it on its own, and yeah, iro, accent on the last syllable, means color. So yeah, as for Masara, it's the color of the beginning, pure white. Yeah, that's that. Yeah, so because of that, glad that's the case, Ringo. Yeah, it's nice to review these concepts, even if you know Japanese, because yeah, of course etymology and so on comes up when learning Japanese. At least that's the recommended way. Because otherwise you would have to remember by heart way too many things. So yeah, as much as possible, it's better to see the origin of words and so on. And so yeah, also to review the rules, the grammar, etc. But yeah. Okay, let's quickly continue a little. Yeah, I want to talk to this character first and foremost. Because yeah, this is the infamous technology guy present in the start of Pokemon games. Science guy, we could say, because actually in Japanese he says here, Kagaku no chikara te suge. First and foremost we have Kagaku. Technically it could have more than one meaning, but yeah, in this case clearly it would be technically either science or chemistry, the most common meanings. But yeah, of course, when speaking more in general, yeah, usually science. Yeah, they have the same pronunciation, even the same accent, I'm pretty sure, on the first syllable, as they have both Chinese compounds. Yeah, those are with the second most common accent for those. But yeah, science. It's worth mentioning that gaku means is the verb which means learn, to learn, to study. And yeah, it's used with subjects, yeah, for example, science, here chemistry, but we'll see that again when we study also its kanji. Oh yeah, science, then we have the possessive particle no. Then we have chikara, yeah, we have seen, yeah, exactly, yeah, it's Megan, as Ringo said, in this case would be May. Technically it's the kanji for name, but actually with a name as in it's a famous, noted, distinguished. Then we have Gen, we straight up studied this kanji. It's the one of you mentioned before in this very episode. Cioè, literally famous saying, yeah, famous saying, wise saying, and yeah, it's the famous saying of Pokemon games as mentioned. Yeah, we had Chikara, we've seen it before. It means power, strength, accent on the last syllable. Force, strength, by extension also capability, ability. We've seen it with the Kirby's copy abilities. Then we have the this te, which is a particle. Can technically be simply like to, the quoting, as it says at the dictionary quotation I've said so far, but it doesn't change particle. A more casual one, this te compared to to. Here is actually better as an abbreviation as Toyu or Toyu no wa. Well, in this case, better Towa or Toyu no wa specifically. And yes, technically, as for the term, as for what is said, and then the quotation literally, we've actually seen this Towa, and I mentioned then Toyu no wa because of that. But yeah, te is a contraction, quite convenient to not say Toyu no wa. Even though we have seen also Towa can be used. Yeah, so as for the power of science, and then he says Suge from Sugoi, that we have seen the regular form, both terrible technically, but more often than not actually terrific. Notice that by using those two terms in English we can actually remember better that Sugoi technically has both meanings. But yeah, instead of terrible, dreadful, more often than not is amazing, wonderful. Then we have this change found in spoken Japanese. Technical dialectal, pretty sure, but yeah, actually found in fiction, video game, anime, manga, and so on. Actually heard potentially even in real life. But yeah, the change, as you might have noticed, from su go I, that go I, specifically the OE technically becomes actually long E. And yeah, it's simply a change in pronunciation, but yeah, the meaning, of course, it's not a standard Japanese technically, but yeah, can be found, and yeah, so be careful to remember it, but we'll see it more and more again, but yeah, so he says, as for the power of science, it's amazing, wonderful, terrific. And yeah, after that he says, that's the famous quote. But yeah, then he specifies. In this game, he says, "Ima wa pasokon tsushin de Actually, I'd stop there because then we'll see the rest with by going down, by continuing this. First, it says Ima wa. Yeah, we have Ima. I think we have seen it before. Yeah, it means now. Technically, there's another Ima with a different accent in that case. Accented that one on the last syllable, this one on the first one, so easy to we can distinguish them also with the accent, but even more so the context. Because yeah, the other one means living room. This one means now. Technically the present time, just now, soon, immediately, then, but yeah, fundamental meaning now. And so yeah, after that we have the topic particle wa, and so yeah, as for now, better maybe as the present time in this case. And then we have passo con. We've mentioned it before in this series because yeah, it's the abbreviation for personal computer. Personal on its own, accent on the just like in English, computer, computer, same. Passo con becomes unaccented as abbreviation, so be careful. Yeah, PC simply, but notice that it's abbreviated in Japanese in their typical way. We have two terms. We use the first two moras of the first one and the first two moras of the second one. Typical abbreviation found in Japanese. After that, we have tsushin, a Chinese compound, so I think it's actually unaccented on its own. It is. It technically means correspondence, most likely the original meaning, but yeah, nowadays most likely more for communication in general, transmission, or telecommunications, other similar meanings. But yeah, here we could say simply communication in general. Technically, with this passo con before it, it should make a compound. Most likely the accent then would be on the first mora of the second part of the compound. So yeah, on the tsu of tsushin. Doubt I can be able to find it, so yeah, we can confirm it, but that should be the case. Passo con tsushin. Then we have the particle, which in this case means with, as in the means. And we'll see why in a second, so yeah, let's actually send it to see the rest. And yeah, first we have dogu. We have found it, I think actually for the first time in this very series, fundamental word for Pokemon games, because yeah, it technically means tool, implement. Chinese compound, but accented on the last mora, so be careful. So we actually can hear it here by adding ya. But yeah, tool, implement, instrument. Yeah, simply items, the items found in Pokemon games. Then we have the particle ya. Such things as and yeah, used for non-exhaustive lists. So yeah, items and something else, and so on. Something else, in this case we have Pokémon. Pokémon. The object particle O. And then we have data, simply from English data, of course. Pretty easy. Notice that for words from English, usually the A sound straight up became long A we didn't even keep it with the E in writing. Straight up became long A directly, unlike words of found in Japanese with the A. Nowadays, most pronounce it as long A, but technically some still as A. But this one straight up data, accented just like in English, luckily on the de. Then we have the particle ni. I'd say into in this case, because after that we have the verb ste from suru to do. In this case with the particle ni, to make into, make into data. Then we have the make the form. Suru is completely irregular, so we simply have to remember that we changed it into its continuative form, which is si. And then we had te. The form required in this case. Technically, we could say simply with this most common meaning on its own, which is do the action of the verb and the rest of the sentence. Or, and let's say in this case better like that, by doing the action of that verb. I'd say better that because then we have okureru from okuru, to send. Actually, unaccented. It's worth mentioning that with a different kanji, we don't have straight up kanji because we write everything in kana. With a kanji, we have the generic to send and several extended meanings. With another one, it becomes to give as a gift, to present, and by extension to confer and so on. You can see why, because why to give as a gift is actually closely related to send, as in, because you are transmitting technically something to someone. Here most likely in its most common meaning, the general one. To send. Okuru unaccented, be careful. Is a u verb codon verb, so we can change the u into e and then add ru to make the potential form, so can send. Then we have nda. First and foremost, the n from no, the nominalizer for verbs already mentioned. Da, the copula in plain speech. And so the usual structure. Literally, it is that. And so also the fact is that, the explanation is that, and so on. Typical expression we have seen in Japanese. When giving, an explanation, for example, like in this case. Then technically we have this to at the end, which you might guess that it's technically the quotation particle. Before it a quotation. In this case, because simply he's saying what technically he has heard. The translation is, he said, as for now, the present time, with the PC communication, it is that items and Pokémon and so on can be sent by making them into data. So that's what it says. Okay, let's say we can now take our usual break, which I do need. When we'll be back, we'll continue going around the town check out various things. I hope we'll be able to at least start that, but yeah, first I want to go around town properly, but yeah. See you in around 5 minutes, most likely slightly less, as usual. And we are back. I guess we can continue. Okay. First, let's check what this girl has to say. Yeah, first and foremost, she says, "Whom?" Yeah, it's whom. Yeah. Funny enough, kind of similar to English, but yeah, with the difference that we use who in Japanese. Funny enough, still part of the Hagyo ha column. So ha, he, hu, he, ho. So yeah, even more appropriate that it's like in English. But yeah, simply that. suspension dots. And yeah. Then she says so nanda, also with that small a after it. So like da. So longer with with that stylization. Again we see the so the na required because after it's we have to use it to connect nouns, because in this case so would be a noun. But yeah, required to connect it to the no, here abbreviated again as n, and yeah, then we have the copula da. So yeah, again the once more the structure, it is that, the expression it is that, the expression is that, and so on. Here more like in the sense actually, as she's clearly speaking to herself, she says so, and implied so, not the so we can see here. It's like that. And yeah, then she turns around with that exclamation point above her. And yeah, then she says, ah! And yeah, that's straight up like ah in as in the exclamation in English. And then she says mite mite, from miru, to see, to look at, to watch. Verb is then verb, we can drop the ru to make the continuative form and then simply attach the te to make the te form. Actually here in its well, we have the doubling simply for emphasis. The function of the te form is because it's actually, there is actually an implied kudasai. Kudasai from kudasaru, one of the verbs of giving, an honorific one specifically, from a superior to an inferior, and uses the kanji for low, which we have already studied. Verb go than verb, but to make the continuative form we drop the ru and add e. Technically we would change the u into e, then the r dropped, so instead of kudasari we get kudasai, typical of honorific verbs like kudasaru, but we've seen also gozaru, gozaimasu. Kudasai, so yeah, after the form of a verb being a verb of giving, has the meaning to do the favor of the action of the verb in te, but actually implies it's the continuative form because there's an implied masse, which is the imperative form of mass, the auxiliary verb used for the polite form of verbs. So yeah, te kudasai is literally please do me the favor of doing the action of the verb in te. Please do that action. So yeah, the imperative in polite speech. When you find these te forms without anything else, more often than not, yeah, a shortening of te kudasai. So yeah, look, technically an imperative form, not as formal, we could say in this case, because technically it's still polite as the extended form. But yeah, it's not the imperative form in plain speech. Yeah. So yeah, still look, but yeah, not as rude or blunt as the straight up imperative form of the verb. And yeah, we look at the sign. And yeah, first we have the suspension dots and says Otoku na keiji ban! Exclamation point! Exclamation mark. First we have this Otoku. And yeah, Otoku, as we can see, an verb, an adjective. Here we literally see the na after it. Toku on its own is the kanji for profit. Well, on its own means a noun or also an adjective, also without the honorific prefix, like in this case o. But yeah, toku unaccented means profit, advantage, benefit, gain. And yeah, with this honorific prefix, it's the adjective, which means bargain, good value, economical. I'd say in this case actually better as in good value. We'll see why in a second. Luckily also an accent even with the honorific prefix. Yeah, I wanted to mention quickly that the kanji for toku has this meaning gain, but also has the meanings get, find, acquire, and so on. But we'll see that when we check out the kanji, when we study it. Oh yeah, I'd say good value. And then we have keiji ban. Technically a Chinese compound, but of 3 kanji. First and foremost, we would have keiji on its own, a Chinese compound of 2 kanji, unaccented like most of those. Notice, bulletin, post, posting, and so on. But yeah. With ban, han on its own technically. But yeah, han, but also is straight up is considered to have the reading ban also on its own technically. But yeah, it means board, plank. But yeah, so literally bulletin, board. Display board, notice board. Let me quickly check. I'll get the physical dictionary. Wanted to quickly check if there's if it's mentioned as a suffix. And so there's the rule for it. With this, it seems that it makes the compound unaccented, but we'll see if it's just for this word or in general. Yeah, no, actually, no, technically it isn't present, that ban, there's a similar one, but not that one. It makes sense actually, because usually it's found, but in Chinese compounds of 2 kanji. One of the most famous ones is kokuban. Literally, koku is black, and yeah, then we have ban board, blackboard. Unaccented, also that one, but yeah, this is a regular Chinese compound of 2 kanji. But yeah, so yeah, I'd say good value bulletin board, so yeah, better with that translation in this case. Yeah, after that it says the actual tip, because yeah, as if it wasn't clear enough, these are bulletin boards are signs with tips. This one says Stato botan o 押すとメニューが開きます。I have start from English with the U barely heard if at all because it's between the voice consonants. The longer vowel because Japanese doesn't have the R sounds, so simply has a longer vowel like English varieties without those sounds. So the typical example, car, which is car. Start, and then after that we have botan, an accented button, not actually from English but from Portuguese, botão, and that's why it becomes botan. Start button, and we have the object particle o. Osu, the verb we have seen so much because a typical verb for video games, to push. As also both in the meaning to thrust, but also push down, press, press the start button. After that we have the to. In this case, after verbs like this, after the terminal form, dictionary form of verbs, it's one of the forms of the conditional or tempo or a temporal meaning if when. This one is the closest one to the zero condition, so if you do the action of that verb, then inevitably whatever is said after happens. Like in this case, you press the button, automatically something happens. In our case, if you press the start button, or when you press the start button, we have menu. Funny enough, similarly, based on how it's written, more similar to French, but the accent is actually like in English, so be careful. It's on the me. And we have the subject particle ga. And last but not least, we have hirakimasu from hiraku, to open, one of the verbs which means to open. This one both transitive and intransitive. Like in this case, it's intransitive. Verb and verb accented, by the way, unlike aku, akeru, which are unaccented. The other couple of verbs for to open. This one to open as in with some kind of spreading involved technically. The other one with simply the opening of a hole, we could say. We can verb and verb, so we can change the U into E to make the conjugative form, and then simply to add mass, and so make the polite form. So simply, if you press the start button, the menu opens. We can hear now what she says. She says, Kanbante tame ni naru ne. First and foremost, we have Kanban. You might have guessed that the ban after it, it's still the one we've seen for board, plank. Kan is the a kanji which has the meanings see, watch over. By the way, is the verb that is used usually nowadays in Chinese to say see and so on. Can. But so technically a seeing board. But this is a Chinese compound, luckily unaccented, like most of those. Simply means signboard, sign. This is the more common word for that. Then we have te again. Could be a simply to. Not in this case, I'd say again most likely a to wa. cos'è? We are defining technically or saying something about this Kanban. So yeah, these signs. By the way, the N before the ba is becomes an M, like in English and other languages. Because of the M is the nasal with the same position as bilabials. Yeah, it's the bilabial nasal. So yeah, that's why. Because of assimilation. But yeah. And then we have this Tameni Naru. Most likely I find it in the dictionary, even though it's pretty clear on its own, this expression. First and foremost, we have Tame. Should be accented on the last syllable. We've seen it before. Technically a noun on its own with the meanings good, advantage, benefit. Yeah, you can see it. We already have that for our case. Other meanings are sake, purpose, objective, aim, consequence, result, effect. More often than not found in the expression verb tame ni, for or in order to do the action of that verb. So yeah, with final for final clauses. Oh yeah, here actually simply the meaning good, advantage, benefit. We have the particle ni, to, into, could say. And then we have the verb naru, to become. Yeah, so literally to become into a benefit. So yeah, actually, then in translation, to be of benefit, to be beneficial, to be useful. Literally, we could say, yeah, to do one good, to be good for one. But yeah, pretty easy expression technically. And then last but not least, the final sentence particle ne. And so yeah, usually asking for confirmation. Also, as in right, isn't it? For confirmation or agreement more in this case. Yeah, she's convinced of that, and yeah, she wants us to agree with that. And yeah, so she says science, as for science, they're useful, aren't they? So yeah, we've checked that out. First we want to go, I think I actually skipped this, let's quickly check it. It simply says koko wa Ledo no Ie. Again, koko wa as for here, literally. In English we would simply, as for these, then in translation. An implied copula is Ledo no Ie, so yeah, red, possessive particle no, and then Ie, which means house. Accent on the last syllable. And yeah, so as for here, literally, it's as for this, adapting it, it's Red's house, the house of Red. Yeah, this came to mind because actually after that I want to check this first, which says koko wa green no Ie. Ah yeah, same structure, simply with the change the name. As for here, it's Green's house. Ah yeah, we'll enter it. Because we want to speak to this character, first and foremost. Yeah, here we get the same messages This one is new for the TV. It says Terebi ni Pokémon ga utsutteiru. And yeah, we have Terebi, TV, ni, to, into. We'll see why when we check the verb better. We have Pokemon, then the subject particle ga. And then, yeah, we have the verb utsutteiru from utsuru. I think I've actually mentioned it when we've seen the term ega. Technically, there are more than one utsuru. This one clearly, by the way, accented. This one is the one which means to be technically to be reflected better in our case by extension than would be to be projected, specifically here to be displayed on a screen. So yeah, actually the need and in English it would be better to translate as on technically in this case, but yeah, it's projected on to, we could say. So yeah, you can see why we use the ni then with that. It's worth mentioning that utsuru can also mean to be projected, but in the sense of to be photographed with a different kanji. The other one we'll ignore for now, even though it has the same pronunciation, but yeah. Although it could be technically, I mentioned its meaning because technically it could be related. Utsuru, the other one, means to move, usually house, used specifically to move a house or to transfer, for example, department. A more generic to move as a different verb, so because of that it's specified. But yeah, with this transferring, you can see why it's probably actually related despite the different kanji. But yeah. Regardless, verb and verb, it's in ru, so it becomes double consonant te. Again, we change the u into i, make the conjugative form, but then the i most likely fell. Utsurite, utsurte. Difficult to pronounce, so it became simply the doubling of the following consonant, utsutte. And then we add the iru, so yeah, again, continuing action or state. So in our case, a Pokemon or Pokemon, plural, is displayed on TV. And yeah, after that, it says, these are the comments, by the way, as we have seen before, of our protagonist. What he thinks is Nandaka Tanoshi so. Yeah, we have this Nandaka. Yeah, technically from Nani, what, the interrogative pronoun. Then we have the copula da. And because of that following da, the ni gets contracted into n. And then we had ka. So again, actually the interrogative the interrogative particle. So yeah, another word with that the ka adds the some meaning. Here technically somewhat, somehow. Yeah, notice that this is the somewhat. Nanika is something. So yeah, there's this distinction, even though it's a similar origin. Oh yeah, after that we have Tanoshi so from Tanoshi. The adjective should be accented, but we check. fun, enjoyable, pleasant, happy, delightful. Accented, yes. We can drop the E to add so, which is an auxiliary adjective, an adjective, which has the meanings appearing that, seeming that, having the appearance of, looking like. The translation is it looks the Pokemon implied looks somewhat happy, we could say in this case. As in or we could say actually implied better maybe the program. Honestly, maybe better the program as a whole, but yeah, it looks somewhat fun. But yeah, can continue. I wanted to, I came here especially to talk to this character. Let me quickly check though. The window does nothing. This one we haven't seen before, so actually let's check it. We have seen something similar, but I'm pretty sure not this exactly. It says Honda ni Narande Runo wa Pokémon no Hon Bakari da. First and foremost, we have Hondana. It's a compound noun from Hon, that we have even studied kanji, means book, accented on its own. And then we have this Dana, actually Tana, on its own, unaccented, means shelf. Becomes voiced in this case because it's the second part of a compound. Is of strictly Japanese origin, and that happens even more so to those terms. But yeah, Hondana, I think. Okay, luckily accented on the ho. So yeah, just like hon on its own. Hondana. Book, shelf, or bookshelves. Bookcase then by extension, but yeah, literally bookshelf. Then we have the particle ni. I'd say technically in, at, usually used with verbs of staying. Technically in this case could be considered as such, even though it's not a typical one. Clearly required by the following verb. Narande, Narabu. That one we have seen before, I think, in this very series. To line up. Was actually unaccented, yeah, so Narabu. It's a verb because I'm verb, so we can change the to make the form. We have to follow the rules. It's in bu, so yeah, again it becomes the form because of what we mentioned. For required here because then we have the iru, continuing action or state. Then we have no, technically the nominalizer for verbs, as we have seen. I'd say in this case better simply as in thing, or by adapting it into English what, because it would be of course the because we have the verb before it, it's a relative clause. So yeah, as for what, by adapting it, as for the things that are lined up on the bookshelf, the bookshelves. And then we have Pokémon no Pokémon, the possessive particle no, on its own. And yeah, then we have this Bakari, which is technically considered a particle. It means, well, it has several meanings. One of the most common ones we see are only, merely, as in nothing but, no more than. But yeah, in this case actually is yeah, nothing but, no more than. Yeah, usually when we have this Bakari, one of the meanings is that it's full of that thing. Because yeah, we'll see other particles with similar meanings, but then they have different connotations. Yeah, this one usually, yeah, because clearly here it's full of books of Pokemon, as in about Pokemon. Yeah, so combining it with the part above. As for what's lined up on the bookshelves, well, as for lined up on the bookshelves, it's full of Pokemon books. So yeah. Finally, we can talk to this character, as I mentioned. And yeah, we have first and foremost the name, Nanami. Let me quickly open it, if I can find her. Ah yeah, this is Daisy. Daisy Hawk in English, so yeah. We see why her relationship with Hawk. So far we could have easily guessed, well, this is Green's house, so yeah, with Green. But yeah, her Japanese name is Nanami. Oh yeah, actually a typical female name. In this case, though, most likely, according to Bulbapedia, it could be from Nanami no Ki. Yeah, Nanami, as mentioned, then the possessive particle no Ki, accented. In this case, it's the word for tree. We even studied this kanji. So yeah, literally the tree of Nanami. Nanami, in this case, written with the kanji for Nana, 7, the number 7, the strictly Japanese number for it. Mi is the Chinese pronunciation of the kanji for, well, no, actually, not Chinese pronunciation. Here is the strictly Japanese pronunciation, so it even makes more sense to have the 7 in strictly Japanese numbers. Mi for with that kanji and that reading means is unaccented, by the way. It means fruit or nut, seed. So most likely more or the fundamental meaning may be more like seed and then by extension either fruit or nut. Although be careful because there's technically, technically nowadays it's more fruit slash nut. There's a specific word for an actual seed. Yeah, of the 7 fruits, seeds or nuts. The 3 of those. Yeah, apparently it's the name of Oriental holly. But yeah, the Na could also be, could have also been chosen, this name, simply because Na, accented on the last accented. It's a single mora, accented. It means, in general, greens, vegetables. Also, more specifically, rapeseed. But yeah, usually you find it technically for greens or vegetables. So yeah, it could be also for that. Again, one of the many, as we'll see, names of Pokemon characters, especially in this game, but in general, related to plants. Or flowers and so on. Yeah, we have seen even Professor Oak, well, in English, Oak, in Japanese, Orchid, with the English word. But yeah, we have her name, Nanami. Actually, the accent of this one, I'm not completely sure. Could be unaccented, because unfortunately I'm not sure what the accent of Nanami on its own would be, because yeah, well, actually we have seen, yeah, no, because unfortunately it can be found on its own in the dictionary. I could try looking it up in the physical dictionary. I'll quickly do it. Let's see. Nana, if we can find it. I have some doubts, but might be. Yeah, no, can't find it. My guess would be either accent on the first mora or unaccented. Fortunately, can verify it. But yeah, let's see what she says. Again, it opens the quote, what she says, the quotation. Konnichiwa. And yeah, the typical, the fundamental greeting in Japanese. And yeah, first and foremost, we have a kon. Actually, part, again, it's the same kanji as ima, which we're seeing now. But yeah, kon, still the meaning is now, but yeah, this is the Chinese reading. Then we have nichi, the Chinese reading for the kanji for sun, technically, but also nowadays more often than not day. He unaccented. Be careful, because accented it becomes the kanji for fire, as we have first studied. I'm quickly checking if we've actually studied the kanji for sun, as in day. Okay, yeah, we have, because of Hoshi. Yeah, I had the feeling, but I wanted to be completely sure. Yeah, we have seen it because of Hoshi no Kabi, Kirby of the Stars, and yeah, it's part of the compound of the one of the components of the kanji for Hoshi star. Oh yeah, you can review that on your own, of course, but also by watching that. Again, you can find the specific parts, the list of the specific parts in which you can find those kanji in the description of the playlist, just as a reminder. But yeah, these, now technically, but then let's say these, they, and then we have the wa. You might have noticed by the pronunciation, and if you also remember that this is actually ha, because it's actually, again, it's actually the topic particle. So yeah, literally, as for this day, as for today, nowadays usually written with kana alone to avoid confusion, because actually the same kanji for now and day are used for today in Japanese, but with a completely different pronunciation for reasons that we'll check out again when it comes up. But yeah, literally, as for today, and so yeah, this is the fundamental greeting in Japanese. Technically is used for good, literally good would be for good day, but then becomes good afternoon. Because yeah, we've actually seen that the greeting for the morning would be Ohayo, from Ohayo gozaimasu. We mentioned it in previous series, we'll see it again. But when we want to use a generic hello, yeah, then usually konnichiwa is the one used, like in this case, of course. There isn't the time of day in this game, so yeah, we use a generic konnichiwa. Yeah, by the way, the accent technically is accented on the last syllable, so yeah, on the wa itself. Konnichi on its own nowadays not used, usually accented on the first syllable. But yeah, konnichiwa. Yeah, after that she says red dokun. Red plus the suffix kun. Yeah, the one used for after the names of usually males of equal or lower status. Can be used also after the name of a female of lower status by males in formal settings. We'll see a practical usage when we find it. Or I could mention again, since funny enough I've mentioned it again this episode, in Detective Conan Case Closed, for example. Inspector Megure uses the kun for run. So yeah, that's an example of that usage, but yeah, more often than not you see it used simply as after the name of males. So yeah, like in this case, Red Dokun. So my guess would be that actually, while technically san is a suffix for familiar person in general, often is used for females in contrast with kun, which we have seen for males. So yeah, my guess would be that if you choose the girl, it would use chan in this case. Fortunately, we can't verify because I picked the male. But yeah, let's continue. Yeah, she says, Ototo no green nara, Oji-chan no kenkyūjō yo. Okay. Yeah, first and foremost we have Ototo, which is the word for little brother. Accented on the last syllable. It's worth mentioning its origin, because yeah, it could help you remember it. Technically, it comes from the verb otoru, an accent, so actually otoru, low, high, high, which yeah, literally means to be inferior to, then to be less good at, to fall behind. But yeah, the fundamental meaning is to be inferior to. And yeah, you can see why then it becomes that it's used here for ototo, for the younger brother, for the little brother. And then we have the oto is from that. And then we have this uto, which is actually a word we have seen before, only changed. Because yeah, we have seen before hito, the word for person. The E actually usually barely heard if at all, hito, unaccented. The fundamental word for person in Japanese. Most likely changed into futo. Maybe required because of an alternative form, required because it's used as the second part of a compound for some reason, or simply an alternative form. Not sure. But yeah, that futo actually then becomes, because the fu is internal, is inside the word, the F technically became U, but yeah, before U it actually wasn't kept even at the start, so uto because of that. Funny enough, if we had actually kept hito and we applied the same rules, it would have first become wito, and then nowadays would be ito anyway, so the change would be still present, but yeah, there's also this futo instead of hito. But yeah, so literally inferior person. So yeah, in the sense of course, inferior because the younger brother. We have mentioned accented on the last syllable. Usually because actually here we have the possessive particle, and in this case we follow the rule, so it becomes an accented ototo no. Then we have green. So yeah, green is her younger brother. Then we have nara. Technically, as we have seen, one of the forms of the conditional. If that's the case, actually, it's the irrealis form, the not yet state form of nari, the classical copula. We've already mentioned it for contracted in naru, the attributive form. Contracted becomes na, used for the na adjectives. But yeah, here the irrealis form, because technically that's the one required in classical Japanese to then add ba. So yeah, nowadays simply it's used as one of the forms of the conditional, but yeah, this is technically the conditional form of the copula, of the classical copula. So yeah, that's why it is, if it is technically the case that, or if it is true that, puts a focus on the condition, but is also used for that, because of that origin, simply as for on the topic of, like in this case, yeah, if it literally it would be if it is my younger brother green, for someone else's younger brother we would add simply san to ototo. Okay, I want to check it if I can find the accent of it. Not present here. Technically, would be my guess that it would be would keep the accent of ototo, so accent on the last syllable of ototo. But I want to quickly check it if I can find it. But yeah, here, as mentioned, more than a conditional, then, even though literally it would be that, it becomes the second usage as for on topic of. So yeah. In the sense, if it is green, my younger brother green that you are looking for, implied. Okay, let me quickly find Ototo. Okay. Yeah, no, can't find it there, so yeah, my guess would be that it would keep its accent simply. Yeah, then we have Oji-san. Comes from Oji-san. Which is the term for grandfather. Again, with technically for someone else is grandfather, but it can also be used because when talking about to someone else about my grandfather, it would become we would use the term sofu. But yeah, when talking about our one's grandfather in a familiar, affectionate actually way, we still use actually the term used also for others' grandfathers. There's also the matter that these terms for grandfather, Oji-san, can be used for a generic old man, male senior citizen. But yeah, even more so here with the chan, the familiar suffix as already mentioned, instead of san, yeah, it's the affectionate term used by the granddaughter. Yeah, if she's the older sister of Green, who was, as we have heard in the intro, Professor Oak's grandson. Yeah, she's also the Professor Oak's granddaughter. Oh yeah, then we have the possessive particle no. And then we have Kenkyujo. Funny enough, we have seen it before in Pokémon Snap. Oh yeah, literally, Kenkyu, unaccented, should be unaccented. Yeah, it is, because it's a Chinese compound. Research, study, investigation, fundamental translation, I say, fundamental meaning, research. And then we have this jo, a suffix, and we have seen that technically, we'll check it again quickly. But yeah, literally means simply place, so place of research, and so yeah, then by simply becomes research institute or research laboratory. And yeah, with Jo, the accent, in this case, for sure it is unaccented. Yeah, there are two alternatives. Unaccented or technical accent on the sho or jo, because there is also an alternative without the voicing, because yeah, the original word, the original Chinese reading would be sho. But yeah, simply literally place of research place, so yeah, research institute laboratory. And then yo, the final sentence particle, so yeah. Literally, if it is about, if it is my younger brother Green, so yeah, as for my young brother Green, on topic of, we could say, if it is your my younger brother Green, implied that you are looking for, he is implied. or his location is Grandpa's Research Institute, Research Laboratory. Oh yeah, okay, with that, we'll exit. We'll quickly actually check this sign as well, since we've just heard about it. ここは大木戸博士のポケモン研究所。And yeah, simply, we've already seen all the terms. As for here, it's implied the Pokémon Research Institute Lab of Professor Doctor PhD Orchid. But yeah, so unfortunately we weren't able to start actually this event. You might know which one I'm talking about. I'd say it's better if I wanted to at least check the sign so we know that this is our location. So yeah, we'll save actually in front here of the lab. Yeah, let's do that. And yeah, so you can close the game. And yeah, so today we continued the game. And yeah, we started properly going around Pallet Town after talking to our mom and so exiting our house. Yeah, we started going around there. We checked almost everything there, except for inside the lab, and we want to check that before doing anything else, because there are some exclusive messages there. You can see only now. But yeah, after that we'll actually trigger the event that will actually start and make us progress the game. So yeah, next time, which should be on unless plans change on Monday as usual, we'll do that. We'll check the lab and then trigger the event. But of course, today we also have in between streaming mostly just for fun, again mostly just for fun, on Sunday. And yeah, it's confirmed that there's the Mega Man Festival in Crosswords. So yeah, we'll play more Crosswords. For that, we'll also play some offline Grand Prix also to continue those. But yeah, so see you on Sunday for more Crosswords, mostly just for fun. On Monday for the continuation of this series, and so yeah, we'll check out, as mentioned, the lab and then continue the game. Actually properly start it, we could say. And yeah, see you next time.